When we think of food, we think of a necessary resource. Food we can only live without for about 4 days or so until starvation occurs. However, with an excess of food, then we find ourselves overeating or staying home, and when we have nothing to do, it's either we become bored, and when we're bored, we can go and have the option to go eat. This is detrimental to your health as a result. So, initially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed you information about the excess of people who choose to eat in excess. I'm also going to stuff your brain with knowledge of somehow foods are naturally processed, and I'm going to dish out a solution as far as diets and eating plans, etc. So, to begin, I'm going to feed you information about the excess of people who choose to eat without controlling themselves. All right. Well, Gittleman from the Total Health magazine in 2008, 200,000 Americans suffer from food poisoning every single day. All right. So, and annually, 80 million people get sick as far as food poisoning, and this is from overeating or going to really convenient areas to go eat when you technically don't trust the food. So out of those 80 million people who do get sick annually, 300,000 of those people have to be hospitalized because they're sick. So how many of us are driving down the street and we're hungry and we realize, hey, it may not be the healthiest, I can just pick up a cheeseburger right now at McDonald's, it's $5 and it's convenient. Let me go do it, regardless of the fact that we've seen all the things about McDonald's, how greasy the food is, etc. Well, I can tell you that I have. So the idea is packing your lunch, simple solutions such as this. So now that I've fed you information about excess people or situations in which people overeat, you want to stuff your brain with knowledge on some foods that are not naturally processed. There's actually an industry for artificially processed foods. When we go to the grocery store and we see on the label naturally processed food, and then you actually take the time to look at the nutrition facts, and you see that there's coloring, and there's coloring, there's iodine, there's artificially processed flavors. There's an artificial industry. And the funny thing is that cheese is actually one of the highest, or one of the most, I guess, beneficial parts of this industry, because cheese, for instance, in products like pizza, cheeseburgers, and this cheese industry sells to all these different companies, and even to the point where they have sprays, as far as artificial sprays, to have the illusion of home-cooked meals being in a restaurant. And all these chemicals are being produced to give the illusion that foods aren't processed, or hey, our foods are natural, you can trust us. However, all we hear on the television is, okay, we have salmonella in our peanut butter. All right, we have E. coli, and we're trying to avoid all these different problems so we can keep ourselves out of the hospital. Now, another item which I thought was quite important on the natural food processing thing that we all use that loosely. Eggs. So eggs are, these days it's becoming more and more common to artificially produce eggs. Egg whitening, things that are made with eggs, they use yellow coloring to make things look like they incorporate eggs when in fact they don't. So now that I've stuffed your brain with information on how some foods are naturally processed, I'm going to dish out a solution. Of eating at home as well as diet plans. We're going to sling my board first. Okay, here we have two jolly people. We have two jolly people eyeballing this cheeseburger. It's a little cheeseburger. Okay, so now I'm going to dish out a solution of eating at home as well as a diet plan. Okay, prior to leaving home, we could sell up salads, or when you think of diet, you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to watch what I'm eating, or I have to stop eating this, or to take things out of my diet, or now I have to incorporate more salad. Well, you could do those things, or what you could do, an article found by Food Fright, a writer whose name is Anne Louise, she has over 3 decades in the health field, wrote that. She wrote that. Okay. She wrote that you don't have to change what you use in your diet plan. Simply, like, when you eat a sandwich, maybe try wheat instead of white bread. Simple changes such as this can cumulatively benefit us in the long run. Okay. A writer who wrote an article titled "The Right Diet Plan" also said that materials are dangerous mainly because they're processed in factories instead of grown. And to think that a day that my food's going to be processed in the factory instead of being regularly grown, where it could be the same material could be used to making glue, that honestly bothers me. So if I'm going and I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich, I would kind of want to know if my cheese is real or something before, you know, I want to enjoy my sandwich. So now that I've dished out a solution of eating at home and diet plans, I would like to conclude by saying when I use the term eating in moderation, I use that term not only when, not only eating, but when I use the term moderation, it means control. Control means that we use our conscience and limit ourselves in what we do when it comes to not only eating, but gambling, when it comes to smoking, when it comes to watching TV. We can all control ourselves. And if we learn how to control ourselves, this will develop good traits in the long run.